welcome everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to come here. I know everybody's extremely busy. This is the one time a year that we really celebrate women, so we're happy to have you all here. And each year we grow and grow in male attendance, so I really appreciate all the male support that we have in the room. This honestly would not be possible without that. Our theme is about honoring women. And this year is extra special because it's the 50th year that Price Family Dealerships has been in business. And so because it's International Women's Day, what better way to make a theme than honoring the women in our organization? And before we get started, I do want to take a moment of silence for Kathleen Martirano. We lost somebody really great for our organization last year. She's present with us today. We've got her picture right there in the front. If we can please take just a quick moment of silence for her.
How many copies to print?
All right, thank you guys, appreciate it. So, like I mentioned earlier, this year's theme is extra special to us because we are honoring the women in our organization. We've got many special women here that, all of us have started somewhere. And on top of that, it's the Price Family Dealerships 50th year in business, and they have really, truly paved the way for many of us women in the organization. So I really want to honor them. So we made a very special project. It's something that I've been dreaming of for years and years, but I just couldn't figure out a way to make it happen. And we've made it happen this year. I got to interview the Price family, and it was a very special project because I got to interview Tom, Gwen, who does not show up on camera very often, but showed up for us, and Greg and Hannah Price. So I really want you guys to check it out.
The first day I took over Ceremony Oldsmobile in 1976, nobody knew the store had been sold or was for sale. I brought all the managers in, and I simply just said, we're going to do things the right way with integrity. We're going to have fun. We're going to win. We're going to work our tail off.
Mom and Dad basically maxed out their credit cards to make the down payment for this first store. You know, he'd never done this before, just jumping into it and saying, I'm going to make this work, and going from there to, 1,400 employees and 16 stores, with all these ups and downs on the way, and just keeping going through whatever happens.
What moments stand out to you as defining milestones in our journey?
I think there's so many defining milestones, especially since I've been in the business, but I think the ones that stick out are really when the rubber hits the road and adversity hits, and are we truly meeting the core values on the wall? An example could be when COVID first hit and we didn't know which way the world was going to go. We looked and said if we didn't bring any income in, we had about 6 months of cash. But we really wanted to do the right thing for our people. And while a lot of our competitors or counterparts were laying a lot of people off, we didn't lay off one person, which we were really proud of. And other moments that could be micro moments of employees or teammates who buying their first house, or hitting 20 cars for the first time. Team successes being, Mercedes winning best of the best, or, Toyota Sunnyvale being top 60 in the country, or team awards like best dealerships to work for. Meaningful moments that really are so important to our company.
When you think about the company's 50th year journey, what stands out to you the most?
I would have to say the relationships that have been fostered through and within Price Family Dealerships. The people who, have their careers within the company, but there's the manufacturers who we partner with, and there's the customers who, many of which have come generation after generation. And so the threads that have contributed to building this quilt, it's so beautiful.
As you look back on the past 50 years, what are you most proud of, Tom?
The organization we built, the opportunity we've been able to give so many people, the fact that people no longer work for us still feel very positive about us. It's been a wonderful journey, and to watch someone come from a lot attendant to a master mechanic or a manager, for someone to start as a salesman, to become a general manager and a partner with us, to be able to build that kind of organization
What does reaching this 50-year milestone mean to you being the CEO of our company?
Reaching 50 years means everything. I mean, mostly I'm just so proud of Tom and Gwen for what they've done and what they've withstanded and all the families they've impacted for 50 years. I can't tell you how many people every month come up to me and say, I worked with your dad, or I did this through your dad 30, 40 years ago. I just am so proud that, you know, what they've done and what they've accomplished, and I think it's just an honor to be able to work on a daily basis to uphold that and continue to pass that along to all our team members and customers.
What has been the most rewarding part of this experience for you personally?
The success that we've had with our dealerships has been rewarding, and it's all because of the great team, all of the people in our stores that are working so hard and taking care of our customers, which is important, and being involved in the community. That's been rewarding.
When people look back at this company 50 years from now, what do you hope they would say about its culture?
I hope the culture is how we have it right now. I won't be around for that, but there will be a feeling that, you know, we strive for excellence. We're innovative. Our base values are of integrity. We're always looking to win, and we're humble.
So with that, I'd like to welcome to the stage our CEO, Nick Price.
Thank you, Diana and Katie. What a wonderful day to be here with everyone. The sun is showing off for everybody here, and it is an honor to speak in front of all of you and to be part of connected to everyone in this room. So thank you so much for being here. You know, when you think of 50 years, Tom talks about, you know, he changed the F&I PVR from $30 to $45, and he was a rock star. When you think about the difference, there was no computers, and you know, now as we go through the internet and the AI and things change rapidly, I think what lasts time forever is what we talked about with integrity. I think human connection. And really just doing the right thing when people are looking or not looking, right? And that is going to be our passion for the next 50 years. And we couldn't be happier to do that with everyone in this room. So I just want to truly thank everyone for their time today and for making the time to be here. And just want to acknowledge all the women in our organization for everything you do on a daily basis, right? And we just want to be, as an organization, the safety net so that you can take a chance. And that will be there for you to succeed, because I think that's when organizations truly are great. I think some of our biggest learning lessons are when we do fall into that safety net. We just want to make sure you know we're here for you. So thank you, everybody. I know there's some other great videos coming up of some of the super inspiring women in our organization. I'm really excited for you all to see. And thank you, Diana and Katie, for your leadership in this. And Paige Casavento, shout out. Let's Paige. Paige worked really hard on all these videos, so thank you, Paige.
I'm here today to talk a little bit about why we're here for International Women's Day. International Women's Day is on March 8th. We're celebrating a little late this year, but it's a celebration nonetheless. In 1910, women marched in New York City for equal pay, less working hours, and what we're still fighting for today sometimes. International Women's Day was first recognized in 1910 in the United States, a little bit before the convention, which made it recognized globally in 1917. So, you know, it's a great time for us to celebrate. Why we're here today as Price Family Dealerships is because during COVID, Diana, myself, and Savannah were looking for a connection. It was a time when we were all inside. We weren't able to connect in the ways we normally did. So what we started doing is going on hikes. And one time we were in Muir Woods and there was a ton of ladybugs. And we were trying to figure out why there were so many ladybugs. And we wanted to tell everybody about it. And we realized we should start a network for women in our organization to have these moments too, whether it be about ladybugs, their career, what they're looking for. And with that, the hope and the dream of Price Family's Women's Circle started. We have our mission to educate on opportunity and inspire personal development through mentorship, discussion, and experiences within our community to better the lives of strong women throughout Price Family Dealerships. and this is our fifth Women's Day celebration. I unfortunately had to miss some, but when you talk about a network, in my career journey, I had to come back to the network that I wanted to be with, and that was Price Family Dealerships. So I'm extremely honored to be here with everybody today, welcoming me back for this year's International Women's Day with Price Family Dealerships. I think about our first meeting that was on Zoom, and now we're here today in this room with so many people celebrating together. So I invite everybody to create that network here. I want to say a special thank you to Diana for always being the partner in this. Also for Lily and Sarah, who are going to help us today with our stations. Paige, we could not have done this without you. I want everyone to know Paige literally packed my car for me because I am known to forget everything. So thank you for recognizing that and getting us all here today with all of our stuff.
The next part of this is also very important because without our sponsors, we would not be able to put an event like this together. So I want to take a moment to shout out our sponsors. We have our bronze sponsor, and feel free when I name these people, you can laugh, shout, scream, whatever you want, whatever you're feeling inside. All right, so for our bronze sponsor, we have Edmunds, we have Lot Links, KPA, we have our silver sponsors is Dealer DMV, Bite Size, Auto Trader, VTech, DMV Desk, the Marin IJ, Yasi, Car Gurus. And then for our gold sponsors, we have StarGuard. We've got Volvo. Where's Volvo in the house? We've got Toyota. We've got CarRx, Cars.com. And for our most gracious platinum sponsors, we've got 2 platinum spots this year. And our first sponsor in platinum is Foundation Direct. And our next sponsor is Techion. I'd like to give our platinum sponsors some time on stage. So I'll start with Ashlyn Murray. She is Senior Vice President of Strategic Operations at Foundation Direct.
Ashlyn Murray from Portland, Oregon, and this is a really special event for us. I think this is actually my 3rd time being here at this event. Got to speak on a panel a couple of years ago. Last year, I was in labor, I think, during this event, so I wasn't able to attend. But we're so grateful to partner with Price Family. We work with many of the dealerships, and I will say, from an alignment standpoint, there isn't another auto group in the United States that aligns better with our values. We have an initiative to try to be as equal and equitable as possible at Foundation Direct. We've got 50% women, 50% men, we're like 49, 51. It toggles back and forth depending on the month, but essentially our values and the commitment to women and moving us forward in this space is really important to us. And without people like Diana and yourself pushing moving forward, we just wouldn't be where we're at today. I remember 15 years ago in the auto space when I started, I was one of 80 people at the table. And now there's so many of you, and it's such a great opportunity to be here and just to be alongside you, to learn from you. And so with that, I'm so grateful again to be here. Today's actually my daughter's first birthday. So we're paving the way forward for her generation, those little women that are gonna grow up to be great leaders. So thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to continuing to partner together.
And next, I'd like to invite Tamsin, Director of Customer Success at Techion.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the hospitality and the West Coast welcome. Here to be happy to be here from Charlotte. So I brought Tommy and Pete, who are your shoulder-to-shoulder Techionites with us. So again, men supporting women. So again, thank you for the opportunity. And again, for the Techion perspective, we are so proud to have partnered with the Price Family Dealerships and honored to be a part of the Women's Circle community, a group that shares our belief in mentorship, opportunity, and personal development. They aren't extras, they're essentials. So every woman in this room, you've had that opportunity to be a part of a conversation, sit at the table, be heard, be seen, and now you're leading. So with Techion's innovation and our technology, we want to make it where everyone from the day one of using our system, you have the opportunity to lead and to grow. It's not going to hold you back. You're not going to have to be the person in the room who's used the system the longest or know those workarounds. Again, whether you're in sales, service, it gives you access to real-time data, streamlined workflows, and a connected system, so your success is driven not by your talent, but really what you want to be in the future in this industry. And again, for our 1-year birthday, again, the next generation, I can't tell you how exciting that is to hear, because we're always thinking about what we can do as a legacy. And from Techion, we have so many amazing women and men in our industry, and in specifically the customer success department, that we want to be shoulder to shoulder with our dealers, whether it's the salespeople, it's the technicians, it's our general managers, it's our women that are leading amazing initiatives like the Women's Circle. We definitely want that opportunity to grow with you and support you. So with that being said, we recently became a Great Place to Work certified. And if that doesn't justify our initiative to empower anyone in the organization, specifically women who want to grow and learn and lead and create mentorship programs, community involvement, we're very proud. And again, with the alliance with Price Family Dealerships, we couldn't think of another better partner as well. And again, the future of automotive, it's being shaped right now by everyone in this room. So just again, you're being seen, you're being heard, you're being respected. And again, to Nick's point, you know, that safety net, you couldn't have said it any better. And our leaders, Jay and Guru, feel the same at Techion. So again, we're committed to continuing to show up, sponsor, and support spaces where women in automotive connect, learn, and most importantly, lead. Thank you.
All right, Liliana, how are you?
Pretty good. So I don't know how I ended up here. I pretty much said, if you guys can't find a speaker, I'll go up there, and here we are.
You make it sound like you were last pick. Actually, she was first pick, by the way. So I want to have you start off by sharing about, if you can share about yourself and also your journey into the automotive industry.
Absolutely. So my journey that I am in now, it wasn't planned. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of personal stories that I hope touch everybody, and it makes everybody feel like we're more united in more ways, especially as women. We might be going through certain, seasons in our lives, and we might not always share them. So I will get real personal today in hopes to touch others' hearts and to let them know that, it's okay to say yes, even during our difficult times. But to make my long story short, for 15 years, I ran a photography and art business. When my husband Mario and I decided that I would stay home with our daughter Gianna, who we had in 2015, I closed my businesses temporarily. I didn't think it was going to be a permanent thing. Luckily, she turned one, and I couldn't find the creativity in me to reopen my business. Maybe I was going through some depression. Maybe I didn't feel like myself. So it was really tough and heartbreaking for me to go back to my clientele and let them know, hey, I'm gonna shut down my business, and I'm not coming back. And when I say I was heartbroken, because for 15 years, I photographed people's lives. So from engagements to weddings to newborn, to birthday parties or baptism, whatever that was, I kind of grew with those families. So it was really sad, when I decided to shut down my business. And that's because I just couldn't find myself creativity-wise. Those client relationships really meant a lot, and I think I take that with our own clients nowadays too. Sorry, I need cue points or I'll get lost. So what happened after I decided to close my business down, my whole family's in the healthcare business. Doctors, nurses, x-ray technicians, we can probably have our own health office if needed. So I went back to school, and I was able to complete a few medical certifications. I did an externship, and that a hospital ended up offering me a position as well. However, it came with a later start date. So during the time that I was waiting to start that new role, I decided to take a part-time job. I don't know why I decided to take a part-time job. but that's gonna tell you guys why I ended up here today. So I ended up taking a temporary job scanning title paperwork with Copart. For those that don't know Copart, they're an auto auction company. They usually deal with total loss claims. So I was just scanning their mail, whether it was a 262 or a title. 3 months later, when the hospital called me back and said, hey, Lily, we're ready for you to come over and, start your role with us. Something told me not to leave Copart. I don't know how to describe it. It was more of a, I should stay here kind of feeling. My family thought I was crazy. They're like, no, go to the hospital. Like, it's gonna be better for you. So I did my research. I searched up Copart and I realized that they were growing. So that told me that there was great opportunity there for me as well. I had applied online, but decided to drop off my resume in person. I ended up parking in service. I had no idea where I was parking. Hopefully they didn't tell me, right? So I introduced myself to Mo. At the time, I didn't know who Mo was, so I thought he was like the receptionist guy. I was like, hi, I applied online. And kid you not, he was like, oh, okay, hi, nice to meet you. He goes, do you have time? Because I gave him a copy of my resume and he glanced at it. He goes, do you have time? I'm gonna go talk to the boss upstairs and see if she wants to talk to you, which at the time was our controller, Joan. Till that time frame, I didn't know he was the GM, right? Here, I'm like, okay, the receptionist's gonna go ask the boss if she has time for me, right? So shortly after that, I literally had an on-the-spot interview. And I am the type of person that's really direct and honest and always wanting to do the right thing if the right support is there. And that interview was completely different than any other interview. Pretty much they showed me this office and deals were stacked. It was pretty scary. And they're like, can you fix this? And I was like, sure, I can fix this. Not knowing what I was kind of getting myself into because the deals that I was clearing with Copart are completely different from the dealership world. And another thing is that with the auto auctions, we have direct DMV contacts. So when I said, who's our DMV contact? And they're like, what are you talking about? Like at DMV? We don't have nobody at DMV. So I had to really work towards a different structure to ensure that I was gonna be able to get those transactions completed for the store. The first couple of months came with many lessons. And that was because the process has many gaps. And you guys that work with me probably hear me say that a lot, our process has gaps. So even though I went ahead and cleared every single issue that Mercedes had at the time, I had to let everybody know that, hey, we need to fix this process if we don't want to continue having these issues. And I think that was something that allowed me to be myself with the Price Family dealerships, that they took my word and were like, hey, we trust you and you've done great things. We're gonna work with you to ensure that what you worked hard to clean doesn't occur again. So I ended up clearing other dealerships shortly after Mercedes as well. In 2021, fast forward, I became director of DMV thanks to the support of leadership. Katie and Hamid had a lot to do with that. And I think the biggest honest comment that I have to say is that during that time frame, I actually had a DMV offer for a position, and Katie was like, you can't resign. You can't go to DMV, right? So Katie and Hamid really provided the opportunity for me to grow and be able to share my knowledge with the rest of our title clerks, with the rest of our business offices, to ensure that we would be up to standard with all DMV procedures as well. Today I lead operations, I support training, and I focus on stronger compliance across our stores. I didn't grow because of a perfect plan. I grew because I stayed willing to learn and kept saying yes even when the moments weren't ideal.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I remember when we talked about your journey, and there were plenty of times where saying yes made you feel uncomfortable. You didn't know what saying yes would mean, or you didn't know anything about what they were asking you to do, but yet you still said yes. So I was very admirable of you for, even with not knowing all the information, you just still took a chance and decided to say yes. Even if, like, in those positions, they weren't necessarily offering you a raise or a position, they were just saying, hey, would you like to learn this? And you just automatically said yes. So my next question to you is, how do you decide which opportunities are worth saying yes to?
I ask myself 3 questions. I have a 3-question rule, and one of them is, will I grow? Would I grow personally, career-wise? What is this gonna provide for me to continue growing, right? And the other one is, will somebody else grow? So sometimes I give up my own growth to watch others grow. So is this gonna benefit somebody in the long run? And the third one is, will my family be happy? Because at the end of the day, if my household is not happy, then it's not the right decision for me.
Amen. So what does a typical day look like for you, Lily?
Pretty chaotic. I start with lots of coffee and prayer. I think we never know what the inbox is gonna look like, right? So I do tend
It sounds like it's so bad. It's not that bad.
It's DMV, right? I start my inbox. So sometimes it feels like there's emails from everybody, like every store, every employee. At least it feels that way. I'm sure it isn't. But from there, the day moves really fast, right? So I oversee audits. I oversee our DMV licensing, so our renewal or dealer licenses, along with any other licenses that our dealerships currently hold, and training sessions. I also support our sales team. So I know some of you guys will text me, call me like, Lily, can you look at this? So I deal with a lot of that throughout the day as well. Just pretty much supporting our teams and ensuring that they're able to continue with whatever they're doing, whether they're with a customer and they're trying to finalize that trade-in, or they're gonna sell something that they're not sure if they need an additional document. I think it's really special that they trust in me to guide them to ensure that they're following through with the completion of those deals. Along with that, I do a lot of store visits. So if I feel like a store might need a visit just to see how their DMB or compliance is going, I do those as well. And then I mentor our DMB clerks. Sometimes our DMB clerks will feel really overwhelmed, so I make sure that they understand that the support is there, and guide them in the right direction with that as well.
Well, something you said that really stood out to me when I first spoke with you about this question, you know, you mentioned that anytime there's a phone call, it's usually, obviously it's a transaction question, but you're always willing to drop everything that you're doing to help that person because you know that on the other side of that phone call is a customer, is somebody wanting to buy a car, and you understand that there is that person that's tied into that transaction.
Correct. It's really important because there's a customer there, whether, you know, they're buying the car for their kid, first car for the kid, which is, you know, important in their eyes. It's a part of their lives that they're handing over to us. So if I can help in any way to ensure that our teams are executing it in the smoothest way possible, then of course I'm going to be there and drop whatever I'm doing to ensure that that goes through nicely.
Yeah, well, that's certainly been my experience with you. Lily is a deal maker, not a deal stopper. She's always finding a way to help us make the deal. We even exported a car to Africa one time. Right, Joaquin? All right. Now, when you think about director of DMV, I don't know, personally, it doesn't sound exciting to me, but what part of your role do you find most energizing?
I'm going to go back to watching people grow. I think I'm in a part in my career where I want to be able to give back. And for me to be able to mentor somebody or teach somebody or have somebody go through training and have, you know, let's say a nervous DMB clerk become confident, that really gives me the energy, and it kind of tells me that we're doing a good job supporting our team, and it keeps me going for the next as well.
What has been one of the toughest challenges you have faced professionally, and how did you handle it?
So I have had a few. I think early in my career, one that, you know, at the moment I didn't really understand. I think we can all relate sometimes when we're starting new careers. I had applied for a management role that I truly believed that I was ready for. Even my teams were cheering me on, and I didn't get it. unfortunately, and instead I was asked to train the person who was selected. So my boss was like, hey, you didn't get the role, however, are you able to train this person? Person was wonderful. I worked really great with them. So was I hurt? Absolutely. I was like, I deserve this, right? But I chose to stay humble and professional. And I think that has taken me long ways in my career, staying really humble and professional, regardless of what the situation might be, and saying yes and just continue to grow from it. So I trained them well. Shortly after, another opportunity came, and I understood why that door had closed. So sometimes I think we're so quickly to judge what happens in our lives without knowing what might be there coming up next. There was a better fit for me waiting. That experience taught me not to fight what I cannot control and trust the preparation and character that will always position you for the right opportunity.
Nice. Now, I know that you also had another challenging experience. I know that you were going through a tough time, and you even when you have tough times, you still push that aside because you know that you still have a job to do, and you're still able to execute it at a high level, even with everything that you got going on in your life.
Yes. So I'll share two other stories. I think I know which one you're getting to, and I'll bring that up too. But I think another defining moment was during the California wildfires. I was working 12, 14 hours plus. At that time, I did live in the East Bay, so I was commuting to SAC every morning for the wildfires. I worked nonstop, right, helping to process these families' transactions. And I think what kept me going was that there were families behind these claims. And I don't know if you guys know the process, but when you lose everything during a fire, especially during our wildfires here in California, the quickest turnaround of a cash out is your vehicles. Your house takes a long time. Everything else is gonna take a long time. So I knew that there was these families and desperate needs, and I don't know if you guys recall, but Paradise happened, the fire in Paradise happened right before the holiday season. So my goal within our team was, can we make sure that we process all these transactions? Because if I didn't give the green light on a deal, that meant a family wasn't getting paid right before the holidays, and these families had lost it all. I remember taking a call from one of our clients, and she was like, you have to understand that not just I lost everything, my parents lost everything, my grandparents, my kids lost everything. And you know, we're in this little tiny hotel and we're running out of funds, and we're hoping that, you know, by you guys clearing it, the insurance will send us our payout. So I think it was right there and then when I said, how can I support my team, because we had about 50 DMV clerks, and how can we work to ensure that we process every single transaction before Christmas comes? And we managed. But was I burned out? Absolutely. I was dropping off Gianna at my mom's before sunrise, and I was coming back super late. So I had given up a little bit of my family to ensure that other families were well taken care of during those times. And here comes the hard part, right? So while I had done a great job where I was at, one afternoon I came home early, and my husband has these beautiful blue eyes, right? And I noticed that Gianna's eyes had changed from blue to like a hazel, beautiful green. I don't know if you guys know, but babies' eyes change as they're growing until they become their permanent color. But I had missed it happening because I wasn't present. I wasn't there during the daytime. You know, I wasn't there raising my child, but I was there helping other families. And while it made me feel good in a way, I know that my heart was broken because I had missed a big part of my own child as well. So that completely broke my heart, and I cried. I remember crying like that ugly cry. Unfortunately, you know, that forced me to realize that, you know, I had been missing something, and it made me pause and reevaluate where I was going career-wise. And I think in that moment, I told myself, did I mess up by closing my business? Did I make the wrong decision by, you know, taking this part-time job, and here I am 5 years later, I've done great things and I'm proud of everything I've done, but I feel like I need to be more present for my child and for my family at home as well. So I realized that I had served my purpose with that employer. No hard feelings. Everybody was happy to, support me in any way possible. And it was time for change. So that's what actually led me to apply to Mercedes. So it took me going through all those experiences to say, hey, we actually had relocated from the East Bay to Vacaville. So at that time, I wanted something closer to home. Mercedes was hiring for a DMV clerk position. And I said, hey, that's less than 30 minutes away, and the rest is history. However, prior to that, nothing was easy, especially in my household, because stepping into that role meant stepping down in title and pay-wise. So having to come home and tell my husband, hey, I want to be closer to home. I need to be here for Gianna, this is how I'm feeling. But if I take, an entry-level position again, we're going to have to cut our salary again. And prior to Copart, me, closing my business, had already cut our income together. And prior to that, he had also made a change in career. So it was a tough decision to sacrifice. But I think it was a sacrifice made out of this type of love that I think only parents and close families can truly understand why those decisions were made. So Mario, he had also started a new job around that same time. So together we were bringing home about 50% less than what we were used to. So just think about that, having to make that financial decision of, hey, things are gonna be tight, right? So unfortunately, I went back to look at our books, and then daycare was expensive because my mom had stopped watching my daughter at that time too. But I remember going to Mario and he had just bought a new truck, and I said, hey, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to trade in the brand new truck. Like, we need to cut that expense. And he was like, are you serious? He had just gotten this truck. So I think as partners, me and him have been together for 18 years, 13 married out of those 18. He supported my decision. Even though it might have seemed crazy from somebody looking on the outside, he supported that move as a team. So I think at times when we even considered giving up the house, believe it or not. We were like, do we go rent? Do we downgrade? And those are all tough conversations to have within a household. But I think me saying, how does my heart feel? Like, we're as humans, like, it's fine that I'm feeling all these emotions, but where do I really want to be, and what am I going to get out of this? And I'm in a part of my career where I want to continue having it a purpose. Whatever I do, I want a purpose behind everything I do. So I had said yes to a change I knew would be difficult, but I was fully present as a mother and wife. I was happy, and that mattered more than anything to me. Being able to pick her up from daycare and dropping her off was something that I hadn't experienced because I wasn't always at home. And then I'm guessing you want me to share the next one. So I think when me and Diana were talking, I mentioned how sometimes they say, oh, women are so strong, right? Well, what makes us strong? We go through everything, just like men do as well. But I think one of the most recent challenges came really quietly while we were opening Toyota Modesto. I didn't know I was pregnant at the time. And unfortunately, I was grieving a miscarriage throughout the process of us opening Toyota Modesto. So, kid you not, I remember it was about Thanksgiving. We went a week prior, we introduced ourselves to the team. Nobody knew that I was going through this. I didn't even know I was pregnant, right? So we go back home to give it a break before we took over, and I dealt with a miscarriage knowing that I had to go back the following Monday and open the store because I got to get the license, right? We can't run business without the license. But I think the love of my team and my family, and I remember Nick and Hamed always making sure that I was okay. Of course, my doctor had cleared me and said, you're fine to go back to work if you can, Gijo, just take it easy. But I think just being myself, and again, having that purpose of why did I go back? Why did I go back the following Monday, Tuesday, and and I think because there's a purpose. There was a team that was probably already scared, you know? They're losing their previous ownership, they're coming into the Price family dealerships, and while we personally know we're great, to them we're a new face, right? And they need the support. And I just felt like it was such a huge responsibility to show that strength and that, you know, that empowerment that, hey, we're gonna get this done. And I think to my biggest accomplishment ever, I managed to get that store license under 30 days. And for you that don't know DMB opened their portal through this time frame. The portal was brand new. They didn't even let you do a buy sell through the portal. So it was a lot of work to try to accomplish and ensure that the store was gonna have its licenses to go ahead and open, and these people can just continue business as normal. So just for me to have that kind of, you know, kind of record breaking for me, that I managed to, even in such a tough situation and you know, sad moments, accomplish something so good within my career that, you know, here we are under 30 days and the store is fully licensed and ready to go, regardless of, you know, what I was going through, because I had the right support in the Price family dealerships, and you know, leadership was there holding my hand if needed throughout that process. But I think I told Diana, I think it's good to share these moments because we all go through certain, you know, seasons, and sometimes it allows us to easily block what might be in front of us, right? And we keep going on how I always say yes, and yes, I said yes because I knew I could do it. If I felt like I wouldn't have been able to, then of course I probably would have took a break. But it was so important for me to continue saying yes and continue to take care of our people, because there's a purpose, and that purpose was to ensure that they felt supported and that we weren't going to rush them into an imperfect scenario opening that store. So I think it just taught me that strength is not pretending you're okay. It's leaning on your purpose and your people while you heal. Some of my biggest growth came from jobs nobody wanted, right? So the scanning of the mail, fixing errors, learning regulations, those moments quietly built my future.
Beautifully said. So my next question for you, Lily, is how do you balance being a mother and a wife in your career?
There's no such thing as balance. I think if you're the type of person, especially if you're a mother, you're like, I need to balance my home and I need to balance my career, just scratch it off your list. It needs to be one life fulfilled by what you do as a mother and what you do in your career. And that's why you have to find what the purpose is behind what you're doing. Great, we're showing up for work every morning. Besides the purpose of, you know, having kids or having a household that needs your support, whether it's financially or just emotionally, what's the purpose behind, you know, what you get up for every morning? And it's something that you really have to understand to make sure that, you know, it's not a balance. It's just understanding that some days are gonna need me more, you know, at home, and then some days are gonna need me more at work. And some days everyone needs me, right? So on those days, I kind of just focus on what's urgent and what needs to be done right away. I think my family is my reason and not my obstacle. I think sometimes we can easily say, I can tell my daughter every now and then, like, I can't make it to pick you up exactly on time, so you're gonna have to go to extended care, right? We shouldn't take it in a negative way. You know, if that option is there and she can stay after school, then great, she gets to hang out with kids. I think as a mother, I just can't take it personal. If I don't get to pick her up on time, I don't get to pick her up on time, and that's just what things are. And understanding that it's one big circle and it should never be divided.
I couldn't agree with you more. There really is no such thing as a balance. The next question is, what advice would you give someone considering a career in automotive today?
I think we need people who care, right? To learn the whole process, not just your job, but be honest, be reliable, and ask questions. We don't learn if we don't ask questions. I still ask a lot of questions. I'm learning every single day. There's so much opportunity in this industry for people who are willing to work hard, stay curious, and keep showing up. I think you just gotta show up and give it your all.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of career advice, what would it be?
To trust God's timing. I think even when it feels unclear, I think every decision that I made felt so unclear every time I said yes. But you just don't need a perfect plan. Just keep learning and stay grounded in what matters the most.
If you were mentoring someone, maybe even somebody like me, what would you encourage them to focus on right now?
Keep building your skills. I think sometimes we limit ourselves. I want to be a certain type of manager, and this is what this manager needs. Just continue growing, skills and knowledge, not just your visibility. I think yourself, even as an incredible leader, there's always value in understanding the details and maintaining consistency in everything you do. Never shrink yourself. I think sometimes we sit at a table where we might shrink ourselves. There's never a need to shrink ourselves, and keep sharing ideas, asking for new challenges and shaping opportunities for those around you. I think your leadership already even inspires myself as well. And to invest in people and process, your vision will leave an even bigger impact.
Lily, you don't know this, but when I was interviewing you, and I couldn't talk about it because the timing, it's a private matter at the time, but your story about saying yes, even when you had no idea what the opportunity was or wasn't going to be, actually helped me say yes to something very recently that has happened. So I appreciate you. Really inspired me. What mistakes do you see people make that slow their career growth?
I think when you try to look perfect, we're all beautifully imperfect, and I think that's how we're meant to be. So I think the moment you stop being perfect and you stay consistent, I think consistency is key. If you do a good job and you continue doing a good job, if you complete a task and move on to the task, keep moving on to the task. I think when we get stuck in trying to perfect something so perfect, we lose track of, again, what that purpose is behind those tasks. So people hide mistakes as well, right? So as a compliance officer for our corporation and as DMB, I noticed that sometimes people do hide their mistakes instead of fixing them. Be honest and be open. I tell our DMB clerks, if you create an issue, it's fine. There's a way to fix it. Just be honest about it. And then you can't avoid hard conversations either. I think I've grown a lot from having a lot of tough love conversations. And staying in your comfort zone. So I think the biggest growth you can ever have, regardless of what you want to do, is you have to exit your comfort zone. I think if you get stuck in a certain seat and you do not move, you're not going to grow.
What is something you are most proud of in your career so far?
I would say just how I'm helping people grow and how they're and how that's helping me provide for my family while doing what truly matters. Knowing my work has a purpose is what drives me every single day.
What excites you most about the future of automotive, or what is next for you, Liliana?
Well, we have a lot going on, right? A lot of new technology, AI, everybody knows all these AIs. And for me, myself, I think all the new regulations that are coming about, especially California, change is coming so fast. And I know that I've been behind the scenes working with a lot of our vendors and a lot of personnel within the title industry. And dealerships will need a smarter process and stronger compliance, especially leaders. So to ensure that, if you are part of an auto group, that you have a good, strong leadership overseeing your compliance. I want to be part of shaping that future, right? So whether it's through training, participating in policy discussions, or e-title grow nationwide. I'm currently working on the DMV pit stop, so I know some of our stores have went to some of our webinars. My idea is to have the DMV pit stop lead kind of the industry when it comes to DMV and compliance matters that most people might be afraid to conversate because they don't feel comfortable with it. And I'm kind of just leading that way with our vendors to ensure that it's a topic in a conversation that becomes more comfortable, because there is nothing wrong with wanting to grow and understand more of how we should be doing things the correct way and supporting each other within the industry.
Awesome. Do you have any final words for the audience?
I think just going back to being imperfect, right? So like perfection was never my goal. I think when I went through all these seasons in my life, I wanted to be happy deep inside, and at that time I didn't know what that meant until I started doing things with more purpose. I think every season that stretched me as a wife, mom, and leader became training for myself, whether it was on a personal career-wise. If my story shows anything, is that you don't have to be perfect to make an impact. Just be willing to learn and stay rooted in your values.
Well, Liliana is one of the many amazing people that we have in our organization, but a lot of you had participated in a video project and a lot of you had submitted your videos, so we'd like to share that with all of you today.
How have you seen opportunities for women evolve in the company over the years?
Tom always was very supportive of women being in the company. Of course, it started out first with women in the offices and at the reception desk. He really wanted to get women involved with sales, where he thought it was a great opportunity. Soon enough, we had managers in the parts department, service, sales department. Now they're finance and PR. And we now have 3 general managers, you, Diana, Amber, and Irina. Women play a vital part in our dealerships.
I started working when I was 10 years old. Back home in Mongolia, I started selling t-shirts on the street. And that life lasted about 9 years. And I came to United States when I was 19 years old. At that time, I was working in 3 jobs. My path unexpectedly changed, led me into automotive industry. And I am proud to serve as finance director now.
How I got to where I am today, I can describe as multiple people believing in me and seeing the potential that I had almost before I saw it in myself.
Everybody thought I was crazy for going into the car business and selling cars. They basically said that I was going to be terrible because I'm nice, I'm honest, but it turns out that that's what the customers wanted. They wanted transparency. They wanted a friend that could help advise them on their vehicle purchase journey. So it ended up working out for me.
I actually got my father's truck running. It was a 1970 C10, and Jay and Alan recognized that, and we had an informal interview. 2 weeks later, I got the offer letter, and I was very certain that I wanted to take the job.
I never thought I would stay in the automotive industry, but working with the Price family dealerships, it was the people. Price family dealerships had the people that I wanted to work with. They made me feel like family. They made me feel proud of what I'm doing, and it made me want to work very hard for them.
Come to a job that's like I love every day. I love the people that I work with. I have a really supportive manager who has helped get me to where I am today, who's been a great mentor throughout the years. So super grateful for that opportunity.
I've had so many mentors throughout my career, and I think it's really important that everybody finds those people. Mentors can be people who are your supervisor, are your peers, or actually your employees. Everybody has something that they do differently, something that makes them unique, and it's good to figure that out.
The most rewarding part of my career so far is the community that we have here, the family that we have here.
I think women bring something special, and I think that that's more and more appreciated and actually sought after. So I would definitely encourage a young woman wanting to enter the industry to come in and make it her own.
The advice that I will give to a woman that starts right now in the automotive business is be comfortable to be uncomfortable. It is a business that is not that easy, but it's amazing. It's really rewarding.
My advice is to ask questions. Ask the technicians all the questions you have. Tell them to show you what the issue is so you can see it firsthand, and it just sticks to you and it just becomes knowledge.
Stand your ground, do what's right, have integrity in what you do. Be empathetic to people, and I would say just have fun.
Don't give up. You can do it. Once you pick up, you will be the best.
You can learn. There's always room for growth. There is always somebody that will be willing to teach you and answer your questions in your career.
No matter what industry you're in, do what you want to do and don't let social norms stop you from doing that.
Pay attention to the little things that you enjoy, because you never know when one of those little details will become an opportunity.
Just keep doing you. Don't give up, and do not doubt yourself for a second, because we are all learning, we're all humans, and we're all here to help.
You can do this. Don't give up. You can do anything you set your mind to. Sky's the limit. You just really have to set a goal and go after it.
We have to show up that we can do it. We have to stand up and we have to be strong.
We have so many amazing women in our organization, and it would not be possible without Price Family Dealerships paving the way and giving us opportunity and giving us a safe space to be ourselves and execute at a high level.
Say it loud, say it proud. We got greatness in the crowd.